A strong hold over current affairs is crucial for aspirants to succeed in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Administer your preparation with updated and relevant news with the monthly Current Affairs Revision Program. Starting from 20th September at 5 p.m., the 60 dedicated classes offer detailed topic-wise coverage of important news compiled through authentic sources such as The Hindu, Indian Express, PIB, Yojana among others. Enhance your knowledge with up-to-date contextual understanding of all current affairs, expert support through personal mentoring, assessment through MCQs and mains-oriented questions, doubt-clearing sessions, student portal access.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Cabinet approves Rs 5 lakh health cover for senior citizens. Supreme Court reiterates rights of Detenu in preventive detention cases. Union Cabinet approves modification of scheme of budgetary support for the cost of enabling infrastructure for hydroelectric projects. Prime Minister announces adoption of Delhi Declaration on Civil Aviation. NITI Aayog releases expert group report on future pandemic preparedness. Resourcing the energy transition, principles to guide critical energy transition minerals towards equity and justice report released. In a significant move towards providing comprehensive health coverage for senior citizens, the Union Cabinet has approved an extension of the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Under this expansion, senior citizens aged 70 and above will now receive a dedicated health cover of Rs 5 lakh annually, benefiting approximately 6 crore individuals across the country. The scheme ensures that all senior citizens, irrespective of their income, are eligible for this health cover. Those who are already covered under this scheme will get an additional top-up of Rs 5 lakh per year, separate from their family's existing health coverage. To simplify access to the scheme, eligible senior citizens will be issued a distinct card, ensuring they can seamlessly avail the benefits. Additionally, senior citizens already covered by other public health insurance schemes can choose between continuing with their current scheme or opting for ABPMJAY. Even those under private health insurance or the employee state insurance schemes can avail the benefits under the expanded ABPMJAY, making it one of the most inclusive healthcare initiatives. The Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, administered by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, is a centrally sponsored program under the Ayushman Bharat mission that targets around 12 crore families, covering approximately 55 crore beneficiaries. Moreover, this scheme primarily aims to achieve its agenda of universal health coverage. It offers an annual health cover of Rs 5 lakh per family for secondary and tertiary care hospitalization. The scheme covers up to 3 days of pre-hospitalization and 15 days of post-hospitalization expenses, including diagnostics and medicines, making it the world's largest publicly funded health insurance initiative. This initiative complements other schemes focused on improving the lives of senior citizens, such as the Atal Vayo Abhyuday Yojana, which aims to enhance their quality of life, and the Senior Aging Growth Engine initiative that promotes products and services catering to their needs. The Senior Able Citizens for Re-Employment in Dignity or SACRED portal also connects senior citizens with job opportunities in the private sector, reflecting a holistic approach towards the welfare of the elderly.
In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court has once again reaffirmed the constitutional rights of those subjected to preventive detention. The ruling, delivered in the Jasila Shaji vs. Union of India case of 2024, emphasizes the importance of a detained person's right to make an effective representation against their detention. Preventive detention, a controversial legal provision, involves detaining an individual without trial to prevent possible offences rather than as punishment for past crimes. While this tool is considered crucial for maintaining public order and national security, the court has made it clear that fundamental rights cannot be ignored. Key highlights of the judgment include the detenue's right to be informed of the grounds for their detention as soon as practicable, along with all relevant documents on which the detention is based. The court stated that any delay or failure in furnishing these documents constitutes a denial of the detenue's right to make an effective representation under Article 22, Clause 5 of the Constitution. Article 22, Clause 5 explicitly mandates that the detaining authority must ensure that the detained individual is informed promptly of the grounds for their detention and given the earliest opportunity to challenge the detention through representation. Under the framework of preventive detention outlined in Article 22, Clause 3, authorities have the power to detain individuals without trial to protect national security or maintain public order. The Constitution provides for certain safeguards. Firstly, no preventive detention law should authorize the detention beyond 3 months unless an advisory board approves it. Second, grounds for preventive detention shall be communicated at the earliest. And lastly, provide earliest opportunity of making a representation. In India, laws such as the National Security Act 1980, Unlawful Activities Prevention Amendment Act 1967, and the Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act 1974 govern preventive detention. Lastly, we also have Prevention of Black Marketing and Maintenance of Supplies of Essential Commodities Act 1980.
The Union Cabinet has given its approval for the modification of the budgetary support scheme aimed at accelerating the development of hydroelectric projects and improving infrastructure in remote and hilly regions. Originally launched by the Ministry of Power in 2019, the scheme provided financial assistance for constructing essential infrastructure such as roads and bridges to link major hydroelectric dams and powerhouses to nearby highways. In its new form, the scheme now has a broader scope, with a total outlay of Rs 12,461 crore, designed to support hydroelectric projects that will generate around 31,350 megawatts of power. The expanded scheme, to be implemented from financial year 2024-25 through financial year 2031-32, will cover additional infrastructure needs, including transmission lines, ropeways, railway sidings, and communication infrastructure, in addition to roads and bridges. This expansion also extends eligibility to private sector projects and pumped storage projects with capacities greater than 25 megawatts, providing much needed assistance for the development of these energy sources in challenging terrains. Alongside the scheme, the government has implemented several other measures to promote hydropower development in India. Large hydroelectric projects exceeding 25 megawatts have been officially designated as renewable energy sources, which brings them into the fold of renewable energy policies and financial support mechanisms. The introduction of hydropower purchase obligations also ensures a steady demand for electricity generated from these sources, as entities are required to purchase power from hydroelectric plants. Additionally, tariff rationalization measures have been introduced to bring down the cost of hydropower, making it more competitive in the energy market. Budgetary support has also been provided for storage HEPs, which play a crucial role in flood moderation, especially in regions that are prone to extreme weather events. However, despite these advancements, significant challenges remain. HEPs are expensive to develop, requiring substantial capital investment and long periods before they become operational, which can deter investors, leading to financial constraints. The fragile geology of hilly regions, particularly in the Himalayas, presents serious construction risk, including landslides and earthquakes. Power evacuation remains a key issue, as many of these projects are located in remote regions where there is insufficient infrastructure to transport the electricity generated. Additionally, large-scale land acquisition required for these projects often leads to social challenges, as local communities resist displacement and the subsequent rehabilitation process.
The second Asia-Pacific Ministerial Conference on Civil Aviation has concluded with the unanimous adoption of the Delhi Declaration on Civil Aviation. The conference, which also marked 80 years of the International Civil Aviation Organization, or ICAO, was jointly organized by the Ministry of Civil Aviation and ICAO. The Delhi Declaration reaffirms the commitments made under the Asia and Pacific Ministerial Declaration on Civil Aviation in Beijing. It urges countries in the region to implement the State Safety Program and the Asia-Pacific Seamless Air Navigation Service Plan, ensuring a safer and more efficient aviation network. A key focus of the declaration is on aviation safety and security, with countries setting an aspirational goal to achieve the objectives outlined in the Global Aviation Security Plan. In addition, the declaration highlights the need to strengthen gender equality in the aviation sector, calling for concrete measures to be taken in this direction. Environmental concerns are also a priority, with commitments to reduce emissions and other impacts of aviation on the environment. The declaration further encourages the ratification of amendments to the Convention on International Civil Aviation by Asia and Pacific states. India, a key player in global civil aviation, has emerged as the fastest growing aviation market in the world, currently ranked third in the domestic segment. The number of aircraft in the country exceeds 800, and the number of airports has grown exponentially to 157. Notably, 15% of India's pilots are women compared to the global average of just 5%, reflecting India's progress in gender equality in the sector. Schemes already in place for aviation sector include Regional Connectivity Scheme RCS Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, Digi Yatra and Greenfield Airports Policy 2008 to prioritize carbon neutrality. Furthermore, International Civil Aviation Organization was established in 1944 on the basis of Chicago Convention. It is a United Nations specialized agency with 193 members, including India. Headquartered in Montreal, Canada, its vision is to achieve sustainable growth of global civil aviation system. Additionally, its mission is to develop policies and standards, undertakes compliance audit and cooperation of its member states and stakeholders. Its key agreements and initiatives includes Carbon Offsetting and Reduction Scheme for International Aviation and Long-Term Aspirational Goal.
Moving ahead, NITI Aayog has released its expert group report on future pandemic preparedness, reflecting on the challenges faced during the COVID-19 pandemic while proposing a comprehensive strategy to better equip the country for future health crises. A central focus of the report is the adoption of a One Health approach, integrating human, animal, and environmental health to address the rising threat of zoonotic diseases, which are seen as significant drivers of global health emergencies. During the COVID-19 pandemic, India encountered several challenges that hindered an effective response. Legislatively, the provisions of the National Disaster Management Act and the Epidemic Diseases Act were found to be inadequate for addressing the complexity of a public health emergency. The report also highlights that surveillance and data management were major pain points, with multiple data sources failing to integrate effectively, leading to delays in decision-making. Additionally, research and innovation efforts suffered due to the lack of collaboration between research bodies and industries, which slowed the development of vital diagnostics and vaccines. To address these issues, the report outlines key recommendations. On the governance front, it proposes the enactment of a new Public Health Emergency Management Act aimed at tackling not only epidemics but also broader public health challenges such as non-communicable diseases, natural disasters, and bioterrorism. The creation of an empowered group of secretaries on pandemic preparedness and emergency response, chaired by the Cabinet Secretary, is recommended to streamline decision-making during such crises. To ensure timely access to financial resources during health emergencies, the report also advocates setting up of a special PPER fund. Improving data management, surveillance, and early warning systems is another cornerstone of the recommendations. The report stresses the need for a robust, interconnected surveillance network. In addition, the development of a solid modeling and forecasting system is proposed to enable early prediction of outbreaks, allowing the country to act swiftly in containing potential pandemics. Research and innovation form a critical part of the strategy for future preparedness. The report suggests establishing an Institute of Innovation for New Platform Technologies, which would focus on the rapid development of vaccines and other medical technologies. It also calls for the creation of centers of excellence aimed at skilling human resources in identified gap areas. Reflecting on the existing framework for epidemic and pandemic management, the report notes that Public health and sanitation is under Entry 6 of the State List 7 schedule. Moreover, the Entry 29 of Concurrent List empowers centre and state both to legislate for prevention of infectious or contagious diseases from one state to another. Internationally, the International Health Regulations 2005 provide a legal framework that helped countries manage public health emergencies in a coordinated manner. While the Epidemic Diseases Act of 1897 remains India's primary legislative tool for managing outbreaks, the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program is another key mechanism providing disease surveillance across the country.
A report titled Resourcing the Energy Transition: Principles to Guide Critical Energy Transition Minerals Towards Equity and Justice has been released by UN Secretary General's Panel on Critical Energy Transition Minerals. The aim is to develop guiding principles for energy transition. But before we begin, let's understand what are critical energy transition minerals or CETMs. The demand for CETMs is expected to triple by 2030 as the world transitions from fossil fuels to renewable energy. These are minerals necessary to construct, produce, distribute, and store renewable energy. They include rare earth elements, copper, cobalt, nickel, lithium, graphite, cadmium, selenium, etc. Given the recent climate changes, the report outlines 7 guiding principles and 5 actionable recommendations to ground the renewables revolution in justice and equity. Let's quickly go through the 7 guiding principles. These principles advocate for human rights as a central consideration, the protection of environmental integrity, and the promotion of justice and equity in the mineral sector. They call for development through benefit sharing, value addition, and economic diversification. The principles also stress the need for responsible and fair investments, finance, and trade, along with transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption measures to ensure good governance. Finally, the importance of multilateral and international cooperation is highlighted to foster global peace and security. But why are these necessary? Guiding principles are required as increasing demand for CETMs risk perpetuating commodity dependence, exacerbating geopolitical tensions and environmental and social challenges, and undermining efforts towards the energy transition. Furthermore, the report also highlighted some actionable recommendations, which includes the establishment of a high-level expert advisory group to accelerate greater benefit sharing, value addition and economic diversification in CETM's value chains, global traceability, transparency and accountability framework along entire mineral value chain, global mining legacy fund for strengthening financial assurance mechanisms for mine closure and rehabilitation, initiative that empowers artisanal and small-scale miners for responsible mining, material efficiency and circularity targets to balance consumption and reduce environmental impacts. In today's Place in News, we will discuss Mexico with its capital, Mexico City. Mexico became the first country to approve popular election of judges. Let's discuss its political features. It is located in North America. It shares its territorial boundaries with USA in the north, Guatemala and Belize in the southeast. Its maritime boundaries are shared with Pacific Ocean in the west and south, Gulf of Mexico in the east, and Caribbean Sea in the southeast. In terms of its geographical features, the region is part of Ring of Fire, characterized by active volcanism and frequent seismic activity. Its major rivers are Rio Grande, Colorado. Its mountain range is Sierra Madre Oriental and Sierra Madre Occidental. Lastly, its major mountain peaks include Pico de Orizaba and Popocatépetl.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Kerala Cabinet clears proposal to constitute 7th State Finance Commission. Article 243I of the Constitution empowers the Governor of a state to constitute a Finance Commission every 5 years. Article 243I was introduced by 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992. National Instructional Media Institute has recently launched YouTube channels to make vocational education more accessible for ITI students. NIMI was set up in 1986 by name of Central Instructional Media Institute by Government of India as a subordinate office. It is registered as a society under Tamil Nadu Societies Registration Act 1975. SEBI approves 10 times hike in NSE's authorized share capital to Rs 500 crore. Headquartered in Mumbai, National Stock Exchange was incorporated in 1992, recognized as Stock Exchange by SEBI in 1993 and commenced operations in 1994. Central Government under Companies Act 2013 notified National Bank for Financing Infrastructure and Development as a public financial institution. Only institutions established under any central or state act or whose at least 51% paid-up share capital is held by central or state government can be notified as PFI. Indian Army contingent departs for 5th edition of India-Oman Joint Military Exercise Al-Najah 5th. Exercise Al-Najah has been held biennially since 2015, alternatively between India and Oman. Union Minister for Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying has recently launched Rangeen Machli app. This app is developed by ICAR, Central Institute of Freshwater Aquaculture, with support from the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Recently, the flight test of VLSRSAM has been successfully conducted by Defence Research and Development Organisation and Indian Navy from the Integrated Test Range in Chandipur, off the coast of Odisha. Flight test was carried out from a land-based vertical launcher. Delhi government is preparing to spray biodecomposer, an alternative to stubble burning, over 5,000 acres of farmland. Developed by Indian Agricultural Research Institute, biodecomposer is a microbial liquid spray consortium of 7 fungal species. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding into today's installment of Test Your Knowledge. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solution to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.